This is Will Spencer from the Renaissance of Men here with the new 21 report and President Anthony Dream Johnson.
How you doing, man?
Good to see you, man. Hey, congratulations on 15 years. How does it feel?
Feels pretty fucking good, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's still, we're just, day after here on a Monday.
Sure.
Still wrapping my head around it. I'm feeling a lot better physically, got some good sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And
Good.
I'll be getting into now the digestion process, the chewing process over what happened. And it takes days and weeks.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge wind-up. It takes like 10 to 12 months to set this up.
Yeah. What does the digestion process look like for you? Obviously, there's a whole bunch of coordination needed to get everyone on site, herding all the cats, so to speak, and then the thing ends, and it happened, and it's done, and then what do you do after?
Well, the first thing is finish up little stuff like this,
Sure.
then go hang out at Socrates' house with my friends and get drunk.
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course.
So that's part of it. Eat red meat,
Yes.
Burnt, well done, nuked.
Yeah.
A lot of it's just time, man. Getting good sleep, getting good rest, physically taking care of myself, going for a lot of walks. Really walking is probably going to be one of the main things. I'll hit the beach soon, go hang out with Tony Bruno out on the east coast of Florida. Just basic stuff and just being patient. And, just chilling, hanging out with maybe a girl here and there, Little Diablo 2 just came out.
Oh,
Chill
there you
out.
go.
Just do things that are very different from like this huge wind-up of a major logistical event that are not that.
Give yourself a break.
Yeah, a real break and get away from it a little bit.
How long does that take usually, if you had to guess?
A couple weeks.
A couple weeks, yeah. And you just shut off until then, like, leave me alone.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Because it's like there's always stuff to do in the company.
Sure.
I could get, right now, if this is done, go start playing with YouTube and newsletters and, blah, 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 blah. But I don't need to. And as much as important as that stuff is, as cool as that is to me and useful, this is so much more important than everything we just did. And I did it, I won. Got to watch my enemies burn as well, which was pretty nice, nice bonus. But yeah, my year now is going to wind down basically. I mean, it's October here, end of October, so it's a few weeks into November, Thanksgiving will hit, December, got to kind of wind the whole year down. And it's a big process, man, even the wind down. And then I'm going to start planning too, though, for next year.
Sure.
So that's, I guess you could say it's part of the process too, is like setting up the actual pieces for the next year's event, like I was just talking about before the interview. Different ideas, different changes, maybe new venue, and even reaching out to the venue and getting that conversation going early. And that moves my head not only forward, but also helps like finish off whatever's left, like what happened here, good, bad, and in the middle, new people, returning alumni, all this stuff. There's so much to it that people don't see. Like you got to see this year, right? You told me about this.
Yeah.
You saw as an attendee last year the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Now you get behind the scenes as a speaker, as a host here on the show.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to it.
There's a lot going on.
And the higher up the food chain you go, the bigger that fucking mountain gets, or the iceberg gets.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's the thing is that people, we're here on YouTube, people can't see what's going on behind the scenes. They can't see, our friend back here with the camera, they can't see all the camera people and all the video equipment and all the audio equipment and all just the data management alone of all, capturing how many hours of footage each day, all the, 3 cameras on each speaker, photography. How does that all get cataloged and organized? Yeah. It's a massive, massive effort. That's why it's taking you 15 years to build it.
That's right. Yeah, it's a 15-year machine I built. And it's always been evolving in and of itself and growing over time and maturing, like we've seen. Yeah. People just see that with the content, and they love that, and I get that. The Under 21 became the 21 convention for young men to all men, then to fathers, now for women, and now we do it all together. And that's accurate what they're saying, that it's maturing, right? The men to fatherhood one is an obvious one, but it's behind the scenes too, right? It's the outside and the inside. It's the old Steve Jobs thing. Steve Jobs would talk a lot about, and his work was based heavily on how his father taught him, technically his stepfather, I think, but you don't just paint the outside of the fence, you paint the inside, even if no one sees it. Like, who cares? You do it right, period. Not just what people see, you do it right inside and out.
Yeah.
And that's what we do, and that has benefits that are not always obvious. People just like you're saying, they don't notice them. Like, oh, this event runs really smooth, nice. It's like, that's actually huge, and there's a huge amount of work that went into that.
Absolutely.
And it makes your life better, it makes the speaker's life better, it makes the event, run for so many years, If there was all these little snags and hiccups and hang-ups, then the event would have fallen apart a long time ago. And that's why so many events die. People don't get that,
I have a lot of respect for that, that attitude, and it really shows. It's even from an attendee, even knowing some of the speakers last year, I could see some of it, but now being on the inside, being, I guess, backstage in the staff area, talking to all the staffers, doing the, the 21 report panels, et cetera, even speaking on stage, there's been a real, and I really mean this, there's a real attention to detail from the inside out. That's not like a shiny surface, with something different on in the interior. On the interior, it's just as high quality, and I think that makes a real difference for the speakers as well. And even though the attendees might not know it, they can feel it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they don't know exactly what they're feeling, but they feel the positivity and the professionalism. Or as Jack Donovan says, always extremely professional. But yeah, there's a reason Steve Jobs did it. There's a reason I do it. And it's not just that Steve Jobs' dad told him. It's because this really matters in a business, especially over a long period of time.
Right.
That's where I think the little mistakes will get amplified into big ones.
Yeah.
Unless you smooth things out and perfect them to the best of your ability, then you get that smoothness over time.
Yeah.
Same thing here.
Well, Jack talks about strength, courage, mastery, and honor, and certainly it takes all of those to do something like this.
That's right.
And I think what we're talking about is, some degree of mastery and honor. Like, it's honorable to do your business on the inside, on the outside.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it's a challenge too. Like I've said this before publicly, I think maybe in a podcast to you or someone, maybe, I don't know, maybe multiple probably. But it brings out the best within me. It's a real challenge to do these. It's not just, in the past we did one at a time, 21 convention. Now we do 21 summit, we do 3 at a time, do the show, got 4 things filming at once, photographers, all these people running around. And it's a real self-challenge of self-mastery and how far, can I reach into my potential and how many limits can I break? And if I break that limit, there's more than beyond, The minute you break the limit, I see it as like, that's just then the next phase of hitting the next limit, Just kind of keep going and going and going and going.
Yeah, I was going to ask, that was one of my next questions is, the content produced by 21 has changed so many men's lives and helped them become better men, myself included. It's a big part of my journey was, some of your early talks. And I'm curious how it's done that for you, as the man behind it.
Yeah. How the speeches have helped me or the whole conference itself?
Let's go with the speeches and the speakers themselves, like maybe some of the content, but then actually just the process of building the thing.
Okay, it was a big one.
We'll start small.
So I would refer to a speaker named Richard Grannon, actually, first of all, I've talked a lot with this specific idea set about. Richard Grannon didn't make it this year, but he is filming the speech on his own, a British guy. Yeah. He spoke for us in Poland, for example. Gets along really well with Ken Curry, Sean Smith, and those guys, his college buddies. And when I talked to Richard Grannon first, a couple years ago, about my childhood experience, all the things I went through and stuff, his first thing he said was like, I think he said, I'm shocked or surprised that you're not dead or in jail.
So it's high praise coming from him, actually.
Yeah, for sure. And he meant it. He was this is after a long conversation. And I understand for reasons I won't say on camera, but that makes a lot of sense, given, let's say, relatives that have been through similar experiences, right? So I would say that the event, 21 Convention itself, basically, the Manosphere to a wider extent, but also very unique to me, 21 Convention, I've been able to surround myself with all these awesome speakers and the ideas they have and the truths they have access to and the knowledge they have access to, right? The expertise. And that has made my life just fucking awesome, right? It's not perfect, but it's made me a lot stronger, a lot more powerful, a lot more masculine, a lot more healthy over time. A lot of people don't, man. Even the simple shit, people I grew up with, we don't have to get like technical woo-woo about this, right? A lot of people I went to school with growing up are my age, 33, 34 now. And they're single moms, divorced, they got kids, their life is miserable, they're fat, they're gross. The men are just as bad. They're disheveled train wrecks, right? And not everyone, but a lot of them, people you went to high school with, you see them and just fall apart on Facebook and shit, or you see them in real life.
Right.
And my life has been the opposite. It's been just nothing but an upward trajectory. And 21 Convention has been like the rocket ship, I guess you could say. I ride bare-assed doing that. Because it's pretty wild.
Swinging your red cap around.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, but it's not always wild. But it's been the vehicle I've used to do that. And without it, my life would be a lot worse and nowhere near what it is. Stefan Molyneux also comes to mind, another speaker. He said to me once on a podcast, I think Richard Grannon as well. We were together on like a YouTube show. It wasn't Red Man Group, but another one. But he said people who go through like really fucked up childhood experiences, trauma, they either become gods or devils. You basically get polarized and you swing in one direction. That's the people end up in like rehab and prison and shit like that. Raised by single moms, obviously all the stats on that stuff. I wasn't, but it was still like a total train wreck growing up. Yeah, so that answers a lot of your question, but there's more to it.
Well, I'm curious how the actual doing of the event, maybe in some concrete way, like, well, I was on event number 8, and I realized that I got to do things like this way, and it was a major turning point, or whenever, if that's shown up in specific ways. Because it's a very general question to say, how has doing this event improved you as a man? How do you answer that? I've manifested my life stream, my life's work. Like, how's it changed me? In all the ways. But if you can name some like specific ways, some specific lessons you've learned along the way.
Yeah, sure. So I'll refer again to Richard Grannon, who I talked with recently.
Yeah.
He just kind of was checking in because he wasn't going to make it. Hey, how are things going? Like, how are you doing? You know, psychology, just checking in. You know, the personal touch.
Sure.
And I forget what it said. It was like, yeah, it's the usual, you know, anxiety and stress of an event. Like, it's kind of is what it is. That's normal to me now, no matter how big it is, right?
Sure, of course.
And I'm a lot more durable and thick-skinned to that at this age. But what he said was interesting, and I talked to Sean about this a little bit too, Sean Smith. And Richard Grannon said to me, because he's seen me run these events, he's like, yeah, you just run on adrenaline, man. And he seemed to say it in a positive sense. And what I mean by that is, like, no matter how intense I have to work, no matter how long I have to stay up, no matter how much I have to do, I have the ability to do it. I will get it done. Even if I have to run completely on coffee and adrenaline and nothing else. Don't give a fuck. And in some cases, that's been literal. Back in 2011, for example, the 21 convention in London, we held the first one in England over there. I did the first day of the event on 0 hours of sleep. Not 1 or 2 or 3, 0. So I was up all day the day before, finishing up stuff for the event. Had to give a speech to open the event the next day. Got done prepping for the event and my speech at like 5 something in the morning. And I was like, okay, time to take a shower, go to the event. Then I had to run the event all fucking day. And I didn't get to sleep till like almost midnight. So I was up for over 36 hours, almost 40 something hours. It was really hard. It's very unusual you stay up that long in life without going to sleep, unless you're like in a war zone or something, or some sort of traumatic experience. But that told me that I could do that if I have to, and I'll never forget that. And it went really smooth, actually, you know? Just fucking sheer willpower. And I guess you could say that the events, that's a really good example of, that was really hard, man. I was young too. I was like 21 when I was going on, 22, I think at that point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're 22.
Yeah. I'm getting old, man. That was back in the day now, but.
Well, I mean, that's a very powerful lesson to learn at that age. Like, I'm doing this thing, it's on me.
Yeah.
I care enough about it to put myself through this really difficult circumstance in order to get to the next.
I have this weird personality. Girls in the past I've dated have called it like perma-thinking, and I can like permanently attach to something. Well, it might not be permanent in duration, but it's like a super intense attachment to something. Okay. It can be a person in the moment, like I got your back no matter what, like infinite integrity. And if I'm gonna do the event the next day and I get no sleep, who gives a fuck? I'm gonna do it, it's gonna be awesome, period. No matter how hard I have to push my willpower and intensity for it. That's what Richard Grannon's seen in me after meeting me and he's seen the event. I mean, this event, I'm not going on 0 hours of sleep now these days, right? Because my competence has increased. Right. But there's a strength there in a Jack Donovanian sense.
Donovanian?
Right? Donovanian.
I love it.
But there's a strength there, and I think Sean Smith, he's commented on that to me as well. He's seen me back in even 2018 when he first spoke at the event. Like that event was massive. That had over 200 people at it, 250 or something like that. And there's just a strength it takes that I'm able to exert in spurts as I need it. That for some reason I have developed over time, and it's fucking awesome and very useful. And for events like this that are super complex, very, very logical, very tight timelines, live performances, like you said, people see the YouTube videos and that's like the shiny thing they see at the end. In reality, it's like a live, in real life, you hear it's a live performance. It's very hard to schedule these things and get people on time, and there's flights, and there's COVID crap, and there's fucking problems over here, and this shit, and the Uber, and this, in fact, and people in the hotel, like, their phone died, they forgot, all kinds of shit happens because it's real life. Yeah, of course. It's like a movie that you're filming live and it's being seen live, for these people, for the attendees.
It's hugely complex, just to get people on, just to get a man on stage with a screen, with slides and cameras, live streaming, microphones, all recorded for posterity, like. With security, with law enforcement, with photographers, with videography, with staff management, with volunteers, with merchandise, at a hotel, and we're doing 3 at a time. With people in the crowd. Yeah. Who need food and breaks and water and places to sleep. Like it's a thing. It's I love it though. I don't know why. When I was a kid, I never dreamed of doing this. This wasn't but it's been my whole life, and it's like really fun and hard. I think one of the reasons I love it's because it's hard. Like it's really challenging. I could go work at retail or something, right? Work a fucking 9 to 5. This is way more. Well, I don't know if I could work a 9 to 5. I get fired the second they figure out who I am. But yeah, it's super hard, man. And I think it's a very masculine job too. Entrepreneurship in general. And obviously CEOs and shit are all men. Not surprising. But live events they require a lot of logical thinking, and men excel at that better. And I think it's a very masculine way to view the world. And I get to do that, like
at a high level. It's awesome. I love it.
It is.
Yeah.
So let's go through the 3 individual conventions that happened. Let's start with 22 convention. How do you think that went this year? What did you like about it?
Really good. I think it went better than last year. Yeah, it was a little bit longer. So it was like 3.5 days instead of 3 days. So that got me a little more time to space things out, make the talks a little bit longer, stuff like that. And that's good because I don't like to rush people. I don't like to rush speakers if I can avoid it. And I hate when we have to tighten up a break, for example.
Yeah.
But in response to that, like this year, for example, I scheduled the lunches to be like really long in case we needed to eat into them.
Right.
Most days we didn't.
Eating into them?
Yeah. On Sunday, it's funny, yeah. Did not intend to do that. Freudian more than
intended, yeah.
pun. But the events, the lunches were 2 hours this year, like every day.
That.
Yeah. And that helped because then if we needed an extra 15 minutes, who cares? A lunch is only 1 hour and 45.
Right, yeah.
On Sunday, we had to cut in half, and I was pushing it tight. We went down to an hour, but it's still not terrible. But yeah, it went really smooth. 22, I would say we had even better women this year. About the same amount, but like a different, some returned, some came back.
You succeeded in making some women great again.
That's right. Yeah, they love it. Yeah, they're coming back next year. They're like, when's the next one? That's how part of how you know you succeeded is the attendees are like, I can't wait to come next year.
That's great. That's true.
Like, welcome to have you back. Yeah, it was really good, man. We had a lot more women this year speak there too. That was really cool. Last year we only had one, and even that was a surprise. Jennifer Molesky.
Yeah.
She was a solo female birthing person. This year there was a lot of birthing persons. There was like 4, including a female attorney, badass attorney out of Alabama. Melissa Isaac. Yeah, amazing woman.
Melissa, Suzanne Venker, Jennifer Molesky. Who was the 4th one? I was trying to think.
Colleen Hulse.
Oh, Colleen Hulse with Elliot.
Yeah,
that's right.
Technically, last year, Bakaley spoke with Tanner, so I don't want to discount that.
That was a Patriarch. Oh, I guess they did also.
They did both.
Yeah.
Sure. But it wasn't like a solo speech.
Yeah.
But I should have counted it, and this year I am. With Colleen in her position there.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but even having more solo speeches though, like Suzanne was a big win too, right? That's huge.
Yeah.
That's a very recent addition too. So it's been a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. And I had to fire some speakers as well from last year, about that kind of stuff, the public, stuff. But that's part of life. You you add things and you subtract, in and out. Garbage in, garbage out.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
What do we have to look forward to for 22 convention coming up, as much as you can share?
Yeah, next year. I might, like I've been talking to you about, and probably going to modify when the events start. So instead of running Thursday through Sunday, they're going to run like Friday through Monday. That'll be a big change for all the events, including 22. I want more female speakers. I think it should continue to be a co-ed kind of thing. I think it's pretty cool. There's a lot of potential out there. Professor Janice Fimengo was supposed to be here this year. That was impossible due to COVID, garbage, the COOF. I think she will make it next year if she's not dead living in a tyrannical shithole like Canada. Yeah, it's getting really bad up there. It's almost like Australia.
Losing their minds, yeah.
It's fun to make fun of it, but she's scared, man, and she should be.
I bet.
I told her to get the fuck out, like her life depended on it, to be honest.
Yeah, not a bad recommendation.
Yeah. So more women, and I think it's gonna be, but ones who are savage. The Janices, the Melissas, not like some purple, not purple, but not in the pills too much.
Yeah.
I don't like the conservahos, none of that crap.
Yeah.
So that's the conservahos. No, I want legit.
Yeah.
So we'll see more of that, and just
like the transformed wife or someone like that.
Oh yeah, Lori Alexandra.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not the best choice of words, but I love Lori Alexander.
Yeah.
Amazing. The transformed wife, amazing. Yeah, I interviewed her for 2 hours this year. Yeah, ton of fun.
Excellent.
I'll think of more stuff, to be honest, but it's every year I do the event, I don't change a lot, but I change some usually important things. Like this year I made it longer, the 22 convention, right? That's a big change. I modified their breaks a little bit, their lunches, made things longer, added more women. Next year you'll see some substantial changes. Nothing probably I'm not going to throw the foundation out the window, but you'll see substantial changes. Even the 21 report this year has now a 3-camera shoot, up from 1.
Yeah.
So we went from 1 camera for a long time to 3. Boom. Big change.
Yeah.
Got a new host, a couple new hosts. It's the new and improved 21 report.
New and improved.
Yeah.
Now let's go to the Patriarchs event. How do you think that went this year? This is the 3rd year of doing it? That's awesome.
Yep. I think it went really well. I was in that event the least, to be very, very frank.
Yeah.
That was very similar last year. The only one of those I've seen fully was 2019. We started it because it was solo by itself. The second one was supposed to be alongside 22, but because of COVID, we had to reshape that into 21 Summit, which is ultimately a very good thing. And I think it went really good though from what I did see. Jeff Younger was a huge addition to that.
Yeah.
He was one of the favorite speakers, and I knew he'd be good, but he hit like really hard. His speech was supposed to be the most intense.
Yeah.
And I heard that not only from Ken Curry, who had to follow him, sadly. I've heard this before from speakers. You have like this amazing, ultra intense speaker, and then the guy who follows him is like real calm and chill, and everyone's like fucking like shocked from the previous guy, and you got to follow that. You're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
But Ken's still awesome, did a great job. But Michael Foster even said like that guy was super intense, and Foster's a super intense dude.
Yeah, he is.
So Foster for me, Pastor Michael Foster is a really good barometer for like gauging each event. Very specific details like this, like the intensity of a speaker. Did they go too far, too light? Are they, too soft? When you toughen them up, shit like that.
Yeah.
And the guy's bass as fuck. The bass Michael Foster's Savage Pastor, or something like that. Anyway, I think it went really well though. I'm really glad Jeff Younger was there.
Yeah.
The paternity coach was there, Colonel Smith, Trevor Loudon, savage anti-communist documentary filmmaker. He has a documentary coming out called The Enemies Within the Church. I mean, these are major additions to Patriarch. I'm really glad I made them.
Yeah.
And also Michael Foster was the chief patriarch, the keynote, and that's very cool. And then Tanner was kind of the vice patriarch unofficially to help lead the event.
Sure.
I don't have the bandwidth basically to lead it.
Of course not.
Like I'm doing 2 other ones with Socrates, thank God. So they did really good. I love it too because I've told them repeatedly, Tanner and Michael Foster, that like I trust them to run it, and they do it. I check in as much as I can. Of course, the videographers and the camera team are fully on it, but they're running almost their own event independently, right? When the founder is just kind of like doing other stuff, running 2 other events at the same time.
Right.
And to see, I started this event when I was 17 years old as a kid, and it's changed so much since then. It was an event for young men to learn how to pick up chicks, basically. A little bit of fitness and stuff, and mostly picking up chicks. And now there's a fatherhood event running on its own that I'm not even that physically involved with when it's operating. Like it's like its own machine. And it's super cool. Like I'm all about it. I'm not even a father. So, and these are Christian. This is a Christian pastor is the leader of it right now.
Crazy.
It's just totally. It has evolved so far from its original foundation, and yet it still links back to it.
Yeah.
For men, young men, male-female relationships.
Grandfathers now, I heard too, is what Socrates said. They're grandfathers here.
For sure.
It's incredible.
Yeah, for sure. Not only some speakers, I think. Yeah, we've had speakers in the past, grandfathers, but and attendees. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's really amazing. It's easily some of the most unique work going on in America, I think.
I agree.
And no one else is talking about it.
Yeah.
It's almost not even allowed anywhere else. They're not even allowed to talk about these issues.
Especially not in the context of masculinity.
Yeah, especially the way we're dealing with it. You're not allowed to talk about these issues in general, and especially not from our perspective.
Right.
If you do talk about them, it has to be from like the official narrative. Feminism's awesome. We all worship feminism. Women are amazing. Never can be criticized, right? They're angels. Men are toxic dog shit. Fathers are irrelevant. Like fuck all that bullshit. Yeah, that's part of what I said in my speech. Maybe we could talk about it, but the Manosphere is basically like the real counterculture. It's not like huge, but it's pretty big. It's way bigger than like I was telling people. I was referring to you constantly because our conversations. I'm like, the Manosphere is really, really big.
It's enormous.
Yeah, it's not like Christianity, with 1 billion people in it, but it's big. It has millions of guys in it.
Yeah.
And it's much more expansive than people realize. And I just love it, man. So much. I was going somewhere with that. I'll think about it in a second.
Yeah. Well, one of the things you mentioned is Pastor Michael Foster. We keep grandfathers. And we'll use this to transition talking about the 21 convention, that room specifically. Yeah. But there's such a breadth of themes at this event. Beyond just dating, beyond some of the more classic themes of the Manosphere, you have religion. You have aesthetics with Arthur Kwan Lee. You have a much stronger political influence. From although Melissa Isaac didn't speak there, she still contributed to the overall feeling of things. Jeff Younger, of course, also very political.
I would even say with Melissa, it was legal. Like I view political would be more like Socrates did some political civil disobedience kind of stuff.
People like actively evolved in the political. Eric Carroll, you know what I mean? Like they're people that are sort of like Melissa's kind of on the boundary, but like people that are actively known in political circles. You know what I mean? Show up like Eric
Colonel Smith's actually a really good example. He changed laws positively for men in like 10 states or 11 for paternity fraud stuff, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And he worked his ass off for that. And That's like effective, like policy stuff, like super effective. Yeah.
Yeah, policy is a great way of putting it. You know, and people that are known in political circles, it's a real shift. You know, a real shift, a real emergence. You know, to go along with fatherhood. You know, as the event or as the Manosphere kind of grows up and sort of identifies itself in part of the larger world has come into the Manosphere now, which is really, I think that's really exciting.
Make Women Great Again is the ultimate example of that, in my opinion, one of the ultimate examples, how it reached so much culture, so many people.
Yeah.
I've met people in real life that don't even know who I am, but they heard about Make Women Great Again, and they're like, "That's you?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was all me."
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Oh, wow.
Because they saw it all over their feeds when it was going nuts, you know?
Oh, that's right.
People don't even know. Never mind people from high school that I haven't talked to in, you know, shit like that. I haven't talked to in 15-something years. So, yeah. But yeah, it's the Manosphere is massive, man, and it's, the more the culture interacts with it, the bigger it's going to get. It's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. Like I talked about in my speech, there was a speaker years ago, I don't care about his name, but we're in, you know, middle of the road terms, whatever. But he said the Manosphere is dead in 2019. I'm like, this is a dumb catnip, Twitter catnip bullshit, you know? Because I know he said that, I'm like, this is completely wrong. Like the Manosphere is bigger than it's ever been, even in 2019. Yeah. Never mind now. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I love it, man. America needs it. Oh, that's where I was going with. America is the real counterculture. That's what I was saying a minute ago, yeah.
You said America is the real counterculture.
The real counterculture. Because the Manosphere, and this gets into
the Manosphere or America?
The Manosphere
is the real America. Okay, make sure
no, the Manosphere is the real counterculture. And I talked about this in both of my speeches for the women and the men. Basically, the Manosphere is the only like broad community that's very diverse, right? You got atheists like me and Jack Donovan. You got Christians like you and Jack Donovan and Tanner and all these different denominations and like Jews and stuff, whatever, right? All this stuff. But it's the only group, the only like culture that rejects the whole narrative, like all of it. Like the feminism, the woke crap, communism, socialism, all this fucking garbage, right? So that's really special, I think, and that's part of why it needs to be defended and protected so well, and part of why it has such a positive future. It's like, I call the official tagline for now with 21 Convention is America's last stand for masculinity. I think it is. The event, and it's as a reflection of the Manosphere, really.
Sure.
The event is the event, but the event is the heart of the Manosphere as I see it. The beating physical heart every year. Or sometimes a couple times a year.
A couple times a year.
Yeah, it depends on the year.
Sometimes it has a faster heartbeat. Well, let's talk about the 21 Convention, the actual event room, and what was going on in there, and how you think that went. It's your biggest event yet.
Yeah. Well, we've done bigger 21 conventions. Like 2018 was like massive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But this 21 Summit was easily, the 21 Summit, all of them together, was easily the best event we've ever done. Last year, too, was really, really good. I would say this year was probably 15-20% better. Smoother and better feels and vibes, operations, like all kinds of cool stuff. That event went really good, though. That was, I would say, probably maybe my favorite event we've ever done for 21 convention specific. There's a lot of competition for the past too, you know?
Sure.
But it went super smooth, man, super great. Arthur Kwan Lee, I know, was a huge hit.
Yeah.
Didn't see that one coming, the Asian guy. I call him Liu Kang. I introduced him as Liu Kang's cousin. Up next, your next fighter is Arthur Kwan Lee. I had a great time in my talk. People said, I always work on it up to the last second. I think about it for months. I work on it for weeks and days, and then finally you got to give it. And had a lot of visual imagery in it, a lot of memes, and it was like really funny, but also very serious. And people said a lot of it, people were laughing. People said it was like a stand-up comedy skit, which wasn't really the intention, but I'm happy it came out that way. Sure. If that makes sense. That's like a really cool outcome of it. But the event was just, my favorite part though in that room, it involved multiple events at that point. It was almost like a 21 Summit thing, was the Red Man groups. Now we had the Red Man group on Saturday, a special one with the docs, I called it. You hosted that.
It was great.
Unfortunately, Dr. Glover could not make the event, but we did have Dr. Sean Smith and Ken Curry, both therapists. That was super cool. I loved how Sean was taking a couple digs at the wannabe cult leaders in the Manosphere, cult of personality. But then the Red Man groups, so that was like an initial one on Saturday, but a lot of them we did on Sunday. We did 4 more on Sunday.
Yeah.
Those were amazing, especially the religion one. And I'm not religious myself, but I thought it was just super cool seeing this. This is like the America that I grew up in and I want to see come back now. Like we have different religions, kind of debating with each other, but finding common ground and values. Jack Donovan nailed it, like these different, like the differences between different denominations of Christianity. He's like, look, right now we're trying to make sure we can just get out of our house together. Like the country politically is so fucked. Like you can't even like leave your house in some places still, and some places of the world. Like this is sick. Like this madness. So seeing these guys, get along, and I know that they a lot of them, most of the guys up there were Christian, but they all love Jesus, but then they don't get along on some stuff like really hardcore, but they made it work, like they're very polite and respectful, and that's what it needs to be, freedom of religion to me is like super important, like free speech, and when people are interacting with each other intellectually like that, I think that's what makes that work. That's like the lubrication for freedom of religion. You can't just have it in a document, and it's not just a political thing, it needs to be cultural. And to see that, these Christians who it can be really intense. I see Michael Foster get screamed at online for hanging out with me, an atheist, or even Tanner is a Mormon. He said apparently he gets more heat from hanging out with Tanner than with me. And I'm definitely a heretic going to hell, all that. Yeah, for real. I mean, look at his Facebook page. It's crazy, some of the stuff.
Foster?
Yeah, it's public, his Facebook page. Obviously, you got, Jack Donovan sitting there, atheist too, but all those panels are super cool. I was on one of them. You were on a couple. You hosted.
I hosted the one on the state of femininity.
Femininity, yeah. So I had a really good time on that too. And I'm always really exhausted on the Sunday of the event, the last day, but I still made it work. And it's really fun being up there, hanging out with my buddies and shit, talking about the issues, talking about what matters to me. But yeah, those panels, I think, the speeches are always fucking savage, But having the panels, we made the panels smaller too, because it was getting really, really big.
Yeah, like 7 or 8 people last time. It's not enough time for everyone.
Yeah, we've had 8 in 2019. Last year it was 7, but it was just too much. They have to be long then, over an hour, and it's just too many people.
Right.
And even if you're patient with getting to having people talk and there's a good moderator, it doesn't matter. It's just too many people.
Right.
So those, I thought the quality of the conversations went way, way up, because there was one of them was 3, and then most of them were 5, and I thought that was perfect, and it was super, super cool.
What do you think about the attendees this year? Do you get to interact with many of them? I know you're usually pretty busy running around, but what are the guys and even some of the girls at 22 like?
Yeah, I would say the attendees were better than ever this year. The way I heard it put to me from some of the speakers, and I agree with them. Michael Foster talked to me about it. There was no anxiety. Basically, there's always been little cliques sometimes at 10, 21, and we don't get in the weeds on it, but there was none of that this year. Everybody came for the mission, for the purpose, and for the event. They didn't come to follow some little cult of personality or something weird like that. They were into the event, which is what you should be into with the event. It's okay if you have a favorite speaker or two, I want to meet that guy, I'm going to go because of that guy. That's fine. But if it becomes this weird thing where you're not really going to the event, you're going to hang out with the dude, and you don't really care about the event, that's not. You need to be engaged, meet other people, network, be open, be social, to the best of your ability. The women, we did have one who was we had one last year too. There's always one woman. So now it's like a recurring theme who asks a million questions. Now last year the woman got rude. This one was not rude, thankfully. But just super persistently disagreed with a ton of the content, and just had to constantly get on the mic. It's kind of interesting. It's actually kind of entertaining, and especially because she wasn't rude this year. There were different women. The one last year I was you're not even welcome back. Well, I didn't let the one last year come back because she put her finger on Coach Greg Adams at the end of the event on Sunday night when we're cleaning up, and no one got hurt or anything, but that was instant. Yeah, you put your hand on a speaker, it's disrespectful, and it's boundary breaking.
For sure.
Coach Ray handled it perfectly. I've had a lot of respect from him ever since. I was that motherfucker got game. Because, this big nasty woman, put his hand on him, put her hand on him. I saw the whole thing. I started filming it and shit because I'm oh, fuck. It's going to end up on the fucking news. Yeah. But he handled it super smooth. And, but we had one more this year, but she didn't do nothing violent, not even a finger, and she wasn't rude or anything. But, just super, very, very feminist, basically. I don't even know if she identified as feminist, but it was feminist in all but name.
Same idea.
But the other ones are super cool. I think we had more women who really like trad stuff and anti-feminism, explicitly. And they see this event and they're oh yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go. And then they just had a really good time. And so there's very positive vibes, positive energy at it. A lot of feminine women, basically, which we're low on in this country. Gas tanks running low in America. Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys came back. It was interesting seeing some guys come back I haven't seen in a couple years. So this is sometimes their first time seeing 21 Summit. They used to do 10, 2018, 2019 when it was just 21 Convention, or maybe the Patriarch or something they went to. But it was one at a time, and now they got to for example, the men, they got to pick and choose between Patriarch and 21. Mostly they went to the event they were ticketed for, but I gave them bonus access for free to the other one. So you get to see guys get a little bit frustrated, but in a good way, because they like, oh fuck, I want to go see that guy.
Yeah, I can't be in all these places at once.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
You got to pick, and then, so it makes them choose. I think it helps them actually. What it does for them, they don't realize it's helping them sort out their values and their hierarchy.
Oh yeah.
And it's forcing them to make a decision and forcing them to be responsible for taking a decision. You can't just passively sit in the same room the whole time now. If you sit in Patriarch or in 21, whatever you want, you're there on purpose, and it's your choice to be there, and you're missing out on the other one. So it's a little bit of a loss, like, oh fuck, I'm missing out. But it's now that you're responsible for your experience. And I did not intend that, years ago when I first thought of 21 Summit, and then COVID made me, forced me to create it basically. But it's cool to see that, and I think it helps people stay even more engaged. Also too, we found that, like last year, the women, I don't know why this is, but I think it's biological or psychological, male, female, it really is. Women are super engaged. Like they ask way more questions than the men. Even the guys who ask the most questions, I mean, it's like, there's like a 10x fold of questions. And I know the guys have questions. Yeah. They just like don't ask them until, they ask them like behind the scenes, which is cool. The hallways and the dinners, but like in the room, it's the women who are consistently at 22, they're running to grab that mic. And you felt that probably when you spoke, right, at the end of yours?
No, there was mostly stunned silence at the end of mine.
Oh, wow. I got a ton. I got a bunch of mine. Most of them had a lot.
What's that?
Most of the speeches had a lot, I think, from what I saw.
Yeah, I came in and I caught the end of Socrates, and there was some woman asking him a bunch of questions, and I finished speaking, and there was like just kind of one question.
Like I told you, smooth operator.
Yeah, man, I set him up.
Yeah. But with mine, there was a bunch. One girl went with me for like 10 minutes on camera. I finally was like, all right, we gotta cut. Like this is just gonna keep going.
Sure.
It was fun going back and forth. It's like, all right, this is going. I'm over my time. Like let's cut. I'll talk to you off the outside. So yeah, there's good people, man. A lot of good people. My favorite people in the world is what I gather. I've always I love connecting things and people, ideas, physical things, people, all this stuff. And this event is the ultimate culmination of that for me.
I agree.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to when you get home and it's all done?
Probably taking a really nice hot salt bath. I took some when I was here. I know this sounds silly, but it's super nice. And I have even more salt at home. I like mixed salts. People in the Manosphere are all in like cold showers and ice baths and all this crap. Ice baths are for pussies, basically. I'm just kidding. I've done some myself.
Hot take, sort of.
Yeah. Basically, I think what people don't realize is that it's not ice baths necessarily that have benefits for you. It's temperature changes to your body, and in either direction, they have benefits to you, and they're different. Warren Farrell, for example, his book, Dr. Warren Farrell, for boys, the War on Boys.
The Boy Crisis.
Boy Crisis.
Yeah.
I call it the War on Boys in my head, but it's the Boy Crisis.
Same thing.
So basically the same thing. At the end of the book, they get into health benefits of like hot baths, for like boys with autism and stuff like that. It has real brain benefits, really hot baths, and especially to keep the temperature up over time, don't let it cool down. Helps like a lot of symptoms, helping keeping them calm, basically, anti-anxiety. Basically, I take hot salt baths for more benefits beyond that for your skin, muscles, stuff like that. But it's super relaxing. I mean, it is like. Sometimes I actually do it. I do it in a way, like Tim Ferriss years ago, the author Tim Ferriss is big into salt baths at night, particularly Epsom salt for magnesium, going to sleep, which is true. I take ones in the morning though with Epsom, then I mix it with Dead Sea salt and other stuff, and these are like awesome for waking up. They don't really snap wake you up. It's not like having a cup of coffee or jumping in an ice bath where you're like, oh fuck, my nuts, right? There's something about it though that like really it heats you up, and then the salt and all the minerals in there and stuff. Then if you can go for a walk, get some coffee, it's like, boom, like a double hit all of a sudden. And I told this to people, they don't believe me. I'm like, dude, I know it takes a lot of fucking time though, right? It's like a 30, 40-minute ordeal to do this. Take a long salt bath, but you just feel awesome, man. You get some of your best thinking done, my best work, productivity and stuff like that. And I don't see anyone else doing that, so hopefully you guys go do that.
Go do it.
But yeah, just...
Not health advice.
Yeah. But I'm just happy to get back to like my daily life, my home, my neighborhood, going for walks, working on YouTube, doing this, going to the beach, going for walks, reading, like just not, 25 hours a day out of 24 with the event and the lead up to it too, which is super, super intense. The few weeks every year leading up to 21 Summit or 21 Convention are super intense. The most intense of the year for me by far, way more than the holidays or anything crap like that. Because it just doesn't end until it ends. Until the fat lady's about to sing here, but until the fat lady sings, it's like it not only is super intense, it cranks up.
Yeah.
Every day you get a little bit less sleep and it's a little more busy, and there's more people and there's more this, and you got to spend that money there and write that check and go here and meet this person and fix that and call this person, and they're calling you and they want this and this, and it's like, and it's this big the grand finale was what we just had. So it's nice to just have that behind me and just get home and just like chill. Grind my coffee, my little grinder, just simple fucking shit, man.
Pretty easy.
My life is not not complicated, right? I love my work, I read, I work out, go to the beach, like simple fucking shit, you know? Like I talked about my speech, like I don't know how much of you saw, but
I was in here.
yeah. You know, I like being left alone. That's like my life. Like leave me the fuck alone. I'm gonna leave you alone, you're gonna leave me the fuck alone. That's how this works. So keep it simple. Introverted. I'm very introverted, basically. These events are not introverted.
No.
So they're very exhausting in that way. It's good for me to get through this, you know, and do it for a million different reasons. But yeah, I like to just recharge when I'm alone, and that's what I'll be soon. I'm excited.
Excellent.
No offense.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
So where do you want to send people? We're here on YouTube. Is there any place you'd like to send people for more information about upcoming events or any social media feeds you want to send them to?
Oh, I got a million. So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
We just launched a brand new website just before the event called 21studios.com. We've used that before, obviously, but it's been completely rebuilt. It's going to be our main website going forward for a long time. Super dope website. The creator of it actually came here. He lives local. 21studios.com. That's the home base for videos and events and news and blogs and podcasts and all that shit. It's awesome. Very clean site. Very professional. Golden professional. They can also, for events, go to the 21convention.org. And they can follow my social media at Beach Muscles on Twitter, at Beach Muscles 65 on Instagram, and YouTube's is youtube.com/21, or 21 Studios. We're at 342,000 and change on the main channel on YouTube, and we're gonna hit somewhere between like probably 370 and 400 by the end of the year.
Wow.
I'm excited, and next year I think we'll hit 500,000.
Congratulations. That's great.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put your speech out to 500,000 dudes, mostly dudes.
Wow. Mostly dudes.
Yeah. It's like 98% male.
Yeah, mine's like 91% on Instagram. Yeah.
It didn't matter to me.
Yeah. Well, thank you, President Anthony Dream Johnson, for everything you've done for 15 years for men and for masculinity and
Thanks.
for me.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much. This is Will Spencer from the Renaissance of Men with President Anthony Dream Johnson here for the New 21 Report. Thanks.